Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm wearing my hat that my wife hates. Very bored. Want to make a video. Brought my records out. Trying to get my record player set up. Realized I need a new record player because I have an old Sears 30-year-old record player that I believe is kind of rusty and crackles every time you put the volume or adjust any of the dials. So I went ahead and bought a new record player, which I'm pretty excited about because I never listen to records. I haven't in a very long time. But I used to religiously uh, listen to records. But I'm going to go through my record collection. And sorry about the syncing on these videos. I don't know why, but I don't know, it's the program I'm using. I'm actually using the program that came with the actual webcam, so it's kind of weird that it wouldn't be syncing up, but hopefully it'll sync on this one. But anyways, not to get too ahead of myself, I'll start off showing my records. And the first one, awesome record, I found it at a yard sale. Al Damola, I don't know how to really say his name, I just say Al Damola. Awesome guitar player, from one of his best albums, and you can tell this was made in the 80s because he has the birth control glasses. But this guy is fucking awesome. The only criticism I have of this guy is his stage show is fucking terrible. He just sits in a chair and plays guitar. Sometimes, like back in the 80s, he used to get up and play, but he has like no stage presence. So his shows are kind of boring, but music's awesome. Next one I also found at a yard sale is the Association's Greatest Hits. This was a band right around the time the Beach Boys and the Beatles were popular. They were like a lesser known band, but they have some really great songs. They have a lot of light rock kind of songs that are way too light for someone listening to like a rock album. But very good instrumentation, really good stuff. Another Association record. I believe this is their first record. It's Along Comes Mary, or it might be a compilation record. But I don't know if you can see this. They look so clean cut in this picture. Yeah. Anyways, two Billy Joel records, classic Billy Joel records. The Stranger and 52nd Street. Stranger's probably my favorite of the two. My favorite Billy Joel record, Glass Houses. Really awesome record. Gotta have this. The two good Boston records before they started to suck hard. So far, all of this has been bought at a yard sale. The Chantels, pretty good stuff right there. All at a yard sale. This is the first record in my collection so far that I didn't buy at a yard sale. Bought this at a record store in Olneyville, part of Providence, real shitty area, but they had an awesome record store. Brother Inferior, hardcore punk band I used to listen to. I'll still listen to. These are some other records that I just grab at yard sales and stuff. I don't think I've even listened to this record, Chuck Berry's Golden Decade Volume 2. Chubby Checker. Chuck Mangione. I like about two songs on there. I just grabbed that for like a quarter. Here's another good record that I actually bought in the record store. It's a band called Contravene. They're not around anymore. It's like anarcho-punk / metal. It's actually really good. Sounds like thrashy in some cases. Really awesome stuff. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Greatest Hits. Pretty good stuff. Descendants, Cool to Be You. I believe this was their last album that they had. I don't think they've made a new album since, but they came back after a giant hiatus, and it's a really good album. I remember, I think it was 2004 when I bought this. Two Iron Maiden records. Peace of Mind is when they got the new drummer, who I don't think is as good as Clive Burr was. But this has like Revelations, Flight of Icarus, Trooper, and then this is first album with Bruce Dickinson. Really not my favorite album, but I found this at a yard sale. Number of the Beast, Children of the Damned, has some good songs on it, but not my favorite Maiden record. This is a classic, Thriller, Michael Jackson. Awesome songs on here. Back when he wasn't a complete weirdo. Actually, he was probably always a weirdo. Just people didn't notice it. Phil Ochs, Pleasures of the Harbor. Now this is kind of a rare record. This is when Phil Ochs kind of changed his style from just straight up folk music to kind of more of a symphonic. He had like a backing band, like playing violins and wind instruments and brass in a few of the songs on here. This is when people started to really hate on Phil Ochs because he had changed his style so much. But really, he hadn't done that. He just added more depth to the music. The biggest problem with this album is the song Crucifixion. If you look up Crucifixion by Phil Ochs, it's a really nice song. The acoustic version of it is a really nice song. But on here, it sounds really amelodic, I guess you could say. It sounds very weird, and it's just too experimental and turned a lot of people off of his music. So in this picture, he's probably around in his 30s. This is about a little less than 10 years before he killed himself. So, yeah, people weren't digging this album, and he kind of just said, fuck it. The rest of his albums, he changed his style. I know Greatest Hits, his album Greatest Hits wasn't a Greatest Hits album. It just had more like a Western style to his songs, but this is also a really great album. So I'd recommend that. And of course, these two albums I actually bought new for probably like 15 bucks each. I just had to have them on LP. This is when Metallica was actually awesome. So, self-explanatory why I bought those. And got 3 Molly Hatchet albums and Master of Puppets. But yeah, got a live album. Actually, wait, never mind. This is a later album by Molly Hatchet. 3 albums. Actually, wait. 4 albums, I'm sorry. Not huge in Molly Hatchet, but I just scooped these up in a yard sale. I haven't been to a yard sale in a very long time where I actually saw records that I wanted to buy. Alright, we got the North Country Preservation Jazz Band. I haven't listened to all of this yet, but these people are from where I used to live in New York, so I picked it up. Wanted to take a listen to it. Actually, I don't think I've actually listened to this yet. It's another Phil Ochs album, his hit album, I Ain't Marching Anymore. Has that song on it, has all his older songs on it. But great album, I had to have that in LP form. Now, completely different style of music right here is Phobia. They're like a crust band, which is kind of like punk and thrash mixed together. They sound really different, I guess you could say. Very brutal sounding bands. Not quite metal, not quite punk. But they're a really good band regardless. Another Phobia album. Cool artwork on here. The Police, Outlandos, Do More. I don't know if I said that right, but this is, I don't really like The Police, but this is a really good album by The Police. I've listened to it several times. This is another album I scooped up in a yard sale. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. It's Chaka Khan. I just wanted to check him out. I don't think I've actually heard the whole band. He's really playing a lot of songs. Alright, here's another anarcho-punk band called Rambo. This is when I used to listen to anything that was even mildly political, just to listen to it. And it comes with this weird booklet where it has all this artwork showing like BMX riding and shows activists and stuff. It's just kind of weird. I think it shows it shows someone killing Christian people listening to Christian punk music. And if you can see that, some guy killing people who listen to Christian punk, because the shirt says Zao and they have a crucifix. It's a Christian punk band. There's another thing like anarchy. This is back when I was just like huge into anarchy as a political philosophy, I guess you could say. So all these songs kind of suck. They're like hardcore punk, but they're like a minute long. There's really no thought going on in this in a lot of their songs, but I was huge into it back then. Now this is a great album right here. Sleeves all fucked up. This is a band called Running Wild. Gates of Purgatory, their first album. Very weird sounding German metal band. And very good thrash album. If you like thrash, this is an awesome album. Very cheesy. A lot of songs about Satan. But found that at a yard sale too, just by coincidence. Let's see what else we got here. Alright. The two Rush albums I have on vinyl. Moving Pictures and Power Windows, both great albums. Power Windows is probably my favorite out of the two. But this one has Tom Sawyer, YYZ, Limelight. This one has The Big Money, Grand Designs, Territories. This one doesn't have any hit songs on it, but these songs are awesome regardless. Good stuff right there. Simon and Garfunkel, Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. I'm not huge into Simon Garfunkel. There's an album out of Paul Simon's early stuff without Garfunkel. It's way better than anything you'd hear from an album like this. Check that out if you're interested into that. But it's another punk album from a band that came to town back in the day called Signal Lost. Female singer. It's kind of like a dark sound, kind of slower punk. I like it though. Let's see what we got here. I got 2 Stryper albums just because I wanted to hear how cheesy they sounded. Stryper's Christian metal. They're just Isaiah 50, I don't even know these Bible verses, but check out that album cover. I don't know if you can see it with the glare, but it shows them on like this vehicle. They match the color of the vehicle. They're looking badass. They think they're badass. Look at these pictures. And here's another one, To Hell with the Devil. They look particularly girlish in the back cover for this. They look very girlish. Styx albums. Cornerstones, awesome album. Pieces of 8 is pretty good. And then you got The Grand Illusion. That's also another awesome album. Actually, very dark sounding. I like that album a lot. See what else? Got 2 Survivor albums. I like to collect Survivor albums. Back in the 80s, Survivor was the shit. Vital Signs was the huge hit album they had, which had a lot of love songs on it. Before they had the newer singer, they had more like, they did have love songs, but they weren't as cheesy until this album, which was I believe came out in '84. I used to listen to this in college. I had a cassette tape of it, and I had a piece of shit Toyota that had a cassette player, and I found it at a yard sale on a cassette, and I played over and over again because, you know, I never had that many cassettes growing up because that's outdated technology. Caught in the Game is an earlier album. It has the original singer. Jackie Don't Go is a awesome song. But yeah, these are great albums. Now, this is a rare album. It's not a good album, but I bought it because I didn't know how many opportunities I was going to get to actually, you know, own it. It's probably worth pretty good money now just having it because it's very rare. This is Tennessee Ernie Ford. He mostly sang gospel, and he has a great album called Songs of the Civil War. Check that out if you get a chance. But in this is like early '60s, late '50s. He's trying to get some popularity with the younger generation that listen to rock music. He has an album called Old Rockin' Urn. Very cheesy songs. Very, it's just generic rock, like old rock. It's not that good, but it has its moments. But it's a very rare album that I have. I got my Triumph albums, Allied Forces, classic album. Never Surrender, it's a later album, still awesome. And this is Rock and Roll Machine, which is a very old album. Very cheesy looking. You can tell it's from the '70s. But they always put on a good live show, so I heard. You can just kind of see that. Triumph is one of those bands that I've always listened to. Rick Emmett, the guitar player from Triumph, I still listen to his music, his solo acts and stuff like that. I've got some random albums here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I found this at a yard sale, and it's pretty awesome. I've heard this on YouTube. Just has a haunted house kind of sounds, like creepy sounds. Played on Halloween. It's just awesome, like ambience. But I had to get this. The rest of these albums, mostly just garbage. I got a couple soundtracks, The Graduate and Ghostbusters. Awesome soundtracks. The last thing I want to show you is an album I just got from a record store in South Carolina when I was on vacation. They always have really good records. And it's the Housemartins, London Zero, Hull 4. This is a great album by a great band that doesn't exist anymore, but they're a good power pop kind of band in the 80s. They had a lot of political songs, but they were fucking awesome. Not a lot of people outside of the UK have heard of this band, but they were really good. And that's it. I mean, I have a kind of a rudimentary collection of records. I don't go out of my way to buy LPs, but when I do see them and they're like priced $1 or $5, I'll usually buy them. But I never see used records, used rock records, even just rock in general. I never see that in the store. But anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry this was so long, but I thought it was kind of fun just to go through it. If you watch the whole video, write purple asshole hives in the comments, then I'll know you actually watched the whole thing. I don't expect anyone to watch the whole thing. These videos are kind of boring, but if you did, I salute you. So why don't you have a nice day. Alright, bye.